Thank you to my channel members and Ko-fi supporters that make these videos possible. Hello everyone! Combos and tutors. It's a really hot topic in Commander whether these things are good for the game. Casually speaking, anyway. I've sat on many sides of the argument for some time now, but then one deck came along and really solidified them as a cool part of casual in my mind. Tekkathal. A deck I built that is almost purely combos and tutors. Before I get into the Tekkathal video primer though, I should first establish some groundwork for what made me appreciate tutors and combos in my games. It is fair to say that combos and tutors are not favorably seen in the casual sphere of Commander. The format is singleton by nature to increase variance game to game, and was founded on the idea of having giant stupid dragons lead your deck in your quest to beat down your opponents. Tutors and combos kinda goes against that spirit of the format, as it were. Slap the fact that the strongest tutors come with the highest price tags, and it makes sense that they are seen as a pay-to-win spike card, in a format where budget and kneecapping your own power is seen as virtuous. On the combo side, combos can be seen as betraying the multiplayer dynamics of the format, as combos typically end in one player winning the game, negating the interaction with opponents that makes multiplayer Magic super textured. Everyone knows the pain of building and building a board state just for the game to end because someone comboed off. It can lead to a sense of being robbed, as it were, when a long drawn-out game like this ends in some sort of infinite. Now, while I too feel the eye-roll moments from time to time that come with Demonic Tutor, or someone doing a one-card combo with their commander, I don't understand the extreme mindset of all combos are bad and all tutors are bad that certain players adopt. I'm sure different players draw the line at different places, but for me, combos and tutors can unironically be very interesting gameplay and deck building wise. What do I mean by this? Well, while Demonic Tutor and Vampiric Tutor are just kind of generically good cards that can go in any black deck, more restrictive tutors breathe a lot of creativity into a deck rather than detract from it. For example, a card like Enlightened Tutor is very strong and can be very boring in, say, Heliod. Yeah, Heliod, where you can just find Walking Ballista in order to combo. Where it can be more fun, though, is in a deck like Gen Arcanum Weaver. Crack a fetch for a Surveil land, and with the Surveil on the stack, Enlightened Tutor in response. Put a powerful enchantment like Overwhelming Splendor on top of your library. Surveil it into your graveyard, then return it to play with Gen's ability by sacrificing a cheap enchantment. I'm hard-pressed to think of someone who'd find that line of play very boring. Sure, this example has some style points for how the tutor was used, but what's important is what was tutored for. The game didn't end because your opponent used Enlightened Tutor as a second copy of Walking Ballista. No matter how hopeless it is under the one-sided humility for you, there's still interaction points to be had. It's also important to note here that Enlightened Tutor's in the camp of tutor that reveals what you search for. And even though it's instant speed and cheap cost kind of betray the sort of counterplay that this would otherwise enable, the same thing can't be said for Idyllic Tutor or Fabricate. It is certainly another factor to consider when comparing these cards to the egregious Vampiric and Demonic Tutor. It's not enough to abstain from having a 2-card combo in your deck, as you should be thinking in a toolbox direction to truly be using tutors in an interesting way. A Demonic Tutor can grab you anything in your deck, and even a Mystical Tutor grabs too much interaction for my liking. But when you have Enlightened Tutor, you can't just grab your Toxic Deluge with it. You need to get more creative, including a suite of cards in your enchantment and artifacts that allow you to turn it into that board clear that you would need, like a Meat Hook Massacre or Out of Time. In conclusion for tutors, it requires a mix of lacking boring combos and building an interesting toolbox to turn them into cool cards. That segues me into combos. What do I mean by boring combos? What I mean is Heliod Ballista, Bruvac Maddening Cacophony, Iara Plague of Rats, and even Arkalos Scapeshift, if you're familiar with Snail's video on this topic. All of these are 2-card combos with the commander of the deck. Sure, with Iara Plague, you need at least more life than each other player, and with Arkalos Scapeshift, you need at least 10 lands, but these are not high bars to clear with decks that respectively have Grey Merchant of Asphodel loops and Green Ramp. The Arkalos combo specifically might be fun to deck build around, as Snail has mentioned in his video, but it's unfun to play against for that simple reason. The hoop isn't daring enough. Before we get to the star of the show, Tekkathal, let me first let you know that half the views that my videos get are from new viewers. If you like the content, subscribe and join the Discord through the pinned comment below to hang out with the community, or have your deck reviewed live on stream by me. Now then, Tekethal is what I would describe as a pure combo deck. Now, of course, with a +1/+1 counter on him and the fact that he is flying, it can get a scrappy win through here and there. But ultimately, Tekethal is here to do some broken artifact stuff. How this manifests, though, is not in the same way listed earlier, boring combos, so to speak. Tekethal has a lot of hoops to jump through in order to manifest a combo win. First, though, I gotta lay the groundwork for the deck. I built Tekethal before he was even in Scryfall, because one of my favorite strategies in 60-card formats is Dice Factory, where you charge up Astral Cornucopia or Everflowing Chalice and untap them with a Manifold or Voltaic Key for an insurmountable mana advantage. Normally, you would do this with Core Tapper and Surge Node, both of which I do run, but it's not hard to see how doubled up proliferations can have the same effect. From here, instant speed draw X spells can be used to find winning lines of play while holding up interaction. Now let's get into those non-boring combos I've been mentioning. The easiest and most boring of these combos to assemble is Filigree Sages, with a charged up Astral Cornucopia or Empowered Auto Generator, though this is just infinite mana. It needs an outlet of some sort to actually be converted into a win, but that's not the hardest thing to find. The main hoop with this is the fact that you need to play a charge counter rock, proliferate it up to at least 4, and then play and resolve Sages without being faced with a removal spell. Already you can see how this most boring combo is leagues more nuanced than the I win buttons from before. This setup is incredibly face up, even more so if you reveal the Sages to something like a Fabricate the turn earlier. The deck also runs the classic Wizard class plus Benthic Biomancer combo. Benthic Biomancer already has fun synergy with Proliferate, so this combo is sort of a free ball since Wizard class isn't the worst card to run up by its lonesome, and even still, it sticks to the deck's philosophy of fair combos. Wizard class can only be leveled at sorcery speed, and it takes 9 total mana to do so. Even when online, the combo just sculpts the perfect hand for you, and doesn't necessarily win the game outright. Myojin of Cryptic Dreams can combo with Throne of Geth or Glistening Sphere. What needs to happen first is you need Nesting Grounds to get an indestructible counter from Tekethal onto the Myojin, or proliferate the Myojin while it's in play. Then you can play either of the aforementioned cards, removing a counter from Myojin to copy it 3 times to proliferate indefinitely, since when you proliferate the remaining counter on Myojin, you can proceed to remove it to make new copies of the original spell which have not yet resolved. This, once again, by itself, is not a combo that wins the game. You'll need an untapped Charge Rock laying around for infinite mana, or a poison counter on your opponents to convert this into a game closer. Or you could use Magistrate Scepter. Now, this is even run in Planeswalker builds of Tekethal, but this is by far the deck that enables it the best. There are a few ways to convert this guy into a win. Firstly, you can get a charge counter on it with Core Tapper, Nesting Grounds, or Surge Node, and or do it the old-fashioned way, then untapping it with either the keys or Tezzeret the Seeker. From here, you need a way to proliferate. All of that for 1 extra turn. Now, if you have Sword of Truth and Justice, Thrumming Bird, Guild Pact Informant, or Inexorable Tide, this is deterministically infinite turns. However, sometimes you got to pull this combo out in desperation and Hail Mary your 2 one-off proliferation enablers in hand to try to non-deterministic your way into a win. Either way, this combo is very much a multi-step process. Long story short here, Tekethal's combo lines are all multi-step that open up the window to interaction with them. It is these interactive windows that give these combos some texture. Besides having Astral Cornucopia with something absurd like 14 counters on it and a key to untap it for 23 total mana, any one of these combos would be far too expensive to convert into a win all at once, meaning that they have to be developed one piece at a time. This is where other decks fail the fun test. The window to interact with them only comes at instant speed. There is no climbing to the top rope, elbow tap, just a sudden punch to the gut. Way less flashy, and in the opinion of most, way less fun. This isn't just a video about combos, however. My Tekethal deck is also built on a large and narrow pile of tutors, each of which have their own toolbox to reach into. Fabricate, War of Invention, and Tezzeret the Seeker are the most broad of these. They can grab any artifact in the deck, simply. Trinket Mage, Teleria West, and Urza Saga all tutor for cheap things, most notably Astral Cornucopia or Everflowing Chalice. Though it's important to note that Saga and Trinket Mage can both be used to grab something, like the keys or Surge Node as well. And Teleria West isn't without tricks either, since it can be used to get any land from the deck, including things like Nesting Grounds to move counters around, Mage Ring Network as a mana battery, Karn's Bastion for Proliferate, Mystic Sanctuary for Spell Recursion, and Academy Ruins for Artifact Recursion, all of which are very valuable assets at any point in the game. Next is the oft underplayed Moonsilver Key, which, yes, can basic land cycle or get a mana rock like Astral Cornucopia, but it can also get Staff of Completion, a valuable mana sink and proliferation engine, or Glistening Sphere if you need a proliferation trigger that is less painful. Lastly, and most versatile, is Muddle the Mixture. Core Tapper for combos, Moonsilver Key, Reshape, Finale of Revelation, Counterspell, Pull from Tomorrow, Serum Snare, and perhaps most importantly, Prologue to Phyresis. If there's something this card can't tutor for, I'd like to know. As stated earlier in this video, Tekethal really is just a pile of tutors and combos. That doesn't stop me from having an honorable mention, however, that being Thing in the Ice. Thing in the Ice belongs, in my opinion, in every Tekethal deck, yet it's only in 10% of them. Now, that is a good number, but it's far from, say, 90% of them. Not only does Thing in the Ice come with some counters for Tekethal to eat to gain Indestructible, but when it flips, it returns all non-horror creatures to their owner's hands. Guess what type Tekethal and Thrumming are? This is extra good in Planeswalker builds of Tekethal, since it basically can be truly one-sided, since most of your parity is invested in Planeswalkers that won't be bounced. The rest of the deck is mostly counterspells, card draw, and the best pile of 16 or so Proliferate cards. This hasn't stopped me, though, from having a ton of fun not only deck building the list, but also playing it. Now, I'm not going to pretend that playing against this deck would be everyone's cup of tea, but we can at least agree here that the presence of a combo in a deck doesn't automatically make it unfun or unfair, at least not any more than, say, a turn 6, 7, or 8 Craterhoof Behemoth would be anyway. Let me know down in the comments below if there's a combo deck you like to play, and check the pinned comment to join the Discord if you want to hang with me in the community. Link to the deck list and primer is down in the description below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye!